Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we are back again with a new video on our Java playlist. This video will be on data types in Java. So basically there are two types of data types in Java, primitive and non-primitive. So we will talk about primitive and non-primitive data types. Then we'll see the type conversion and the type casting between them. So let's get started. So basically what we are going to do, we will create each type of variable with each data type. Okay, first of all we'll create the main function. Okay, then in the previous video we have discussed that how many types of data types are present. So now we'll create and store variables of each type and we'll store values in it. Okay, so let's start with byte. Then there is short. Then there is int. Then there is long. And whenever we are using long, at the end we have to put L. Okay, then there is float. Then there is double. Then there is character. And then at last in primitive data type there is Boolean. So these are the basic values, okay, with variables and each type of data type in Java. Okay, now if you want to print all of them, so you can just simply okay, so when you run the file you can print all of them. Okay, so this is how you can create a data type. Okay, you can name them and you can put the values in them. Okay, so this was for the primitive ones. Okay, now what are the size of these data types? Okay, so for byte it is, for byte it takes 1 byte, for short it takes 2 bytes, for integer it takes 4 bytes, for long it takes 8 bytes, for float it takes 4 bytes, for double it takes 8 bytes, for character it is 2 bytes, and for boolean uh 1 byte. Okay, but boolean basically depends on JVM and where it is being used. Okay, so for boolean, now if you want to check the size, okay, in Java, so for that what you can do, I have created a file, data type size. Okay, so you can simply, you have to create a class, then the main function, and you have to just use the data type name, and then there is an attribute called as bytes. Okay, bytes, and when you will print it, so you'll get the size. Okay, size of byte is 1, so you will get the exact size based on Java. Okay, how Java allocates the size for every data type. that is based on Java. Okay, so for cat 2 bytes, for double 8, float for float 4 bytes, for long 8 bytes, for integer 4 bytes, for short integer 2 bytes, for byte it's 1 bytes. Okay, now for Boolean again, if you'll check for Boolean, it will not show you, it will give you an error because for Boolean constant there is nothing. It basically 1 byte, but there is no constant for Boolean. Okay, it depends on the JVM. Now, let's discuss about the non-primitive data types, okay? Yeah, and these are the very important ones. So in the non-primitive ones, we have string, array, and class that we have already discussed in the previous video, okay? And in addition, there are more two, interface and enum, okay? So we are not going to see a interface and enum in this video. When you will be working on class and object, then we'll see these two things, okay? Now, what we'll do, we'll create a simple class, okay? And we'll declare a string, we'll declare an array, and we'll declare an class, okay, to see. So basically we have created a class, but now what I'm going to do, I'll create one more class, okay. So let me create class. I create a class name as person, and this person class I'll give two things, string name, and I'll give a age too. And then I'll create a constructor. Okay, no need to worry about this thing that what is constructor, okay, because we have not studied it, but it's okay, we'll see it. I just for example purpose I'm showing you that this is how you can create a class, okay. Now what is the this keyword and all, we'll explain, okay, one by one, but for example I'm just showing you that how it's done. Okay, so now the class has been created, okay. Now in the main function, let's create one more string name, and let's store Java or simply Java, okay. Now let's create an array. So I'm just showing you that how you memory allocation and what are the non-primitive data types. I'm not going in deep in separate strings and arrays, okay? That's why I'm not explaining you. Now I'll create a object of the person class, okay? So now this person takes two parameters as we have given the constructor. One is the name and one is the age. So let's give the name as, okay, so for example, I've taken a random name and a random age. Now what we'll do, we can print this, okay? So we'll start by printing with the array and then with the string. So let's use system.out.println, and first we'll print the name. Now, if you have to print all the elements of an array, so you have to use a loop, okay? So I'm not going to use a loop. I'll just simply access one element, okay? So I'll access one of the elements and I'll show you, okay? And then we'll use the object and we'll print the get name, okay. So the name from here, okay, and the rest of the things are from this class, and the name will take from this class, okay. So this Java will also get, and this Piyush will also get printed, okay. Let's create, run the file, okay. So you can see Java, Then the first element we have access from the array, so 20, and then Piyush. Now we'll see that how the size allocation on non-primitive data types is done. Okay, so let's start from the string. So first of all, when we talk about a string in Java, so it is basically an object that consists of first a reference, okay, means a memory address. So that memory address is stored in a stack, okay, in our memory. And then the actual string means whatever the name is given here. This is stored basically, or the string here. It string is what? A sequence of characters. So it is stored in the heap, okay? Now each character is of 2 bytes. So suppose if we are to calculate the size of this string name, okay, which is present in this Java non-primitive class, so you can see that total characters are 4, okay? So each character is of 2 bytes. So 4 into 2, it will be 8. So this name will have, this string name will have a size of 8 bytes, okay? Now, same thing goes with the arrays also. Uh, Arrays are of integer type. So one item means one variable of integer value is of 4 bytes, and this has 5 values, okay? So 5 into 4, so this array numbers will be of 20 bytes, okay? Now if you have to calculate the size of a class object, if you want to calculate the size of a whole class and object, so it is basically dependent on wha- uh, what are the types of variables you have used. If you have used string and arrays and some simple variables also, suppose here you have used int age and you have used string name also. So if I have to declare the size of this person class, okay, so you can declare it as this int age will take 4 bytes, okay. Then this name, dependent on the name, this name is taking 6 characters. So 6 into 2 is 12 bytes plus 4, 16 bytes. Okay. So, so JVM will basically add the object header around 16 bytes. Okay. For this class person. So this is how it is done. Now, when we'll talk about uh, frameworks like ArrayList and HashMap, so at that time we dynamically add elements in them. So when we do it dynamically, so in initial base, suppose some memory will be taken. Suppose for 10 elements, initial capacity is for 10 elements. And then how you are adding the elements in that array, based on that, dynamically the memory allocation means the memory will be grow. Okay. So this is how the memory allocation is done in non-primitive data types. Now let's just look at the type conversion and type casting in Java. Okay. So basically, when we talk about type conversion, so there is two types. One is the implicit type conversion and one is the explicit type conversion. So the implicit one is also known as winding. Okay, it is also known as, let me write it over here, winding. Now, it happens automatically. Basically, what we do in implicit, we convert a smaller type to a larger type. Okay, so no data loss occurs, means basically there is no loss of data. So if you'll see an example, so let's talk with example. I've created the main function. Let me create an int num equals to 100, and then I'll create a double, and I'll create a num1. In this num1 I'll assign this num. Okay, so there is nothing which is uh manually, means the conversion is done manually, it is automatic. Okay, we are not doing anything, we have taken a smaller value obviously integer is of 4 bytes, double is of 8 bytes. So we are taking a smaller value in which we have stored a value of integer 100. Then we are taking a double num1. In that we are assigning that num, okay, that integer value. Now what we'll do, uh, let's print both of them. So, okay, let's print the num. Let's print the num1. Okay, so when we'll print both of them, so the output will be 100 and 100.0, as you can see here. Okay, so there is no loss of data here. Okay, 100 was there. Additionally, we got a decimal value because it is in double. Okay, so we got a uh, decimal 0. So we get something extra, but we didn't lose the value. So this is basically the example of the implicit. Okay, so implicit conversion, basically we go from a smaller type to a larger type. Okay, so if a memory is allocated, suppose for byte, if the memory is allocated 1 byte and you go to short, okay, the conversion you are doing to a larger value, larger type, short. So short has 2 bytes. So more memory is allocated. Memory is not been, okay, memory is not being less. It is getting more. So because of that, there will be no loss. Okay, but there is the another type, that is the explicitive one. Now let's in the explicit, just the opposite happens, okay, and it is known as narrowing. Okay, with the word narrowing, it is clear that it will be less. So we, in the explicitive type conversion, we go from a larger type to a smaller type. So maybe a data loss can happen. Okay, so let's see an example. Okay, we have taken the main function. Now the same example we'll take. Okay, so num1 is there of 100, or not 9.78, or whatever any decimal value you want to take, you can take it. Then we'll take int num, and in this, now it is explicitly, it is not automatically, so we have to do it. Okay, so how you will do it, you have to explicitly do it like this. You have to mention the data type again. So int num, now inside the int num you want to manipulate this double to convert it in int. So then you will do it like this. Okay, now you can print both of them. So let's first print the num1, and let's print num here. Okay, now here we'll see some data loss, as a double was 9 point, whatever the value we have stored, 9.78 in double. But in int, what happened? In int there is no concept of decimal. So after decimal, whatever the value is, that will be truncate. Okay, that will be removed. You can basically say removed or truncate. Okay, okay, so only 9 you will see. Okay, now there is one more type of type conversion, which is between the character and int, and that is Java supports automatic conversion between char and int based on the ASCII value. Okay, ASCII value, American Standard Characters. Okay, so what happens in this? Let's take an example. I have a char ch. Okay, in this I have taken a. Then I'll take int or ASCII value, and I'll assign this ch to it. Now I'll print the ASCII value of, okay, so that's it. So we'll get 65. Okay, so yeah, 65. Okay, so there is a now you can do the vice versa also. Means the same thing, you can do it like this. Uh, if you have a int num equals to 97, and you have to take a char, ch1 equals to, now integer is of 4 bytes and character is of 2 bytes. So there is a explicit is from larger to, we are going from larger to smaller. So then we have to follow the explicitive conversion. Okay. So how it is done? You have to mention the character type here. Okay. Then with a space, you will write num over here. Okay. Now you can print this. So you can write here character for ASCII 97 is plus and ch1. Okay. Now when you will print it, you will get character for ASCII is small a. Okay. You can do the opposite also. You can take 65 and you can check it. So vice versa is also possible. Then there is one more type of conversion between string to int and int to string. Okay. So Java allows the converting strings to numbers using integer.parseInt. Okay. And it allows the vice versa using toString. Okay. Integer.toString. So there are two methods present in the string. So let's see. Okay. So I'll create a string. A string str equals to 123 like this. Double quotes will be there. I'll take a int num1. In this num1, we have to use the integer. Then there is a function called as parseInt. In this parseInt, we have to just put the str. Okay. And now you can simply print the num1. Okay. So we'll get the value in integer format. Okay. So from string to integer format, you can get it in this way using the integer dot parseInt. Now if you want to do the vice versa of it, so for that what you have to do, then you have to use a function called as toString. So suppose if you have this num1, in this you have 1 2 3, or let's just do what, let's create a num2, in this let's keep 4 5 6, and now you have to convert it into a string. So for that what you have to do, you have to first create a string variable str1. In this you have to use integer dot to string, and you have to put num2 in this, and system dot out println, and you have to just print the str1. So it will be converted into a string. So same thing, it will be converted into an string. So these are the type conversions which you can perform. Okay. There is implicitive. In implicitive, it automatically happens from when you go from smaller to larger data type, then it will automatically happen. In explicitive, when we go from larger to smaller, so then you have to explicitly do it. So that is also there. So these were the data types, primitive and non-primitive, and then we saw the type converters also. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you in the next video.